Money to add it.
Yeah, that's right.
Make a start. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the extraordinary meeting of Horsham Town Council. As we have apologies this evening from the Chair and the Vice Chair of the Town Council, as per the standing orders, we need to nominate a councillor to chair this meeting. Are there any councillors, please, nominating for chairing the meeting?
I can nominate Councillor Olsen.
Thank you, Councillor Buffy. And anyone prepared to second that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. And are you all in favour?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Olsen.
Can I just give my apologies because I've done double booked, so I'm going to be here for half an hour. Apologies.
No problem.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Councillor Mercer. Could we move to the first item on the agenda then? It's apologies for absence.
Thank you, Chair. We have apologies from Councillor Stipp with a travel commitment, Councillor Robbins a family commitment, Councillor Roland Gosselin family commitment, Councillor Frankland travel commitment, Councillor Frank family commitment, Councillor Albro personal commitment, Councillor Mortimer Cook family commitment, and Councillor Taylor family commitment. Thank you.
And I think it's just worth noting, obviously, this is an extraordinary meeting with not as much notice, so I do appreciate everyone who was able to make it with not so much time.
Yeah.
So moving on to agenda item 2, declarations of interests. Members are to declare any interest, including disclosable pecuniary interests they may have that relate to items included on the agenda of this meeting, noting that this does not preclude any later declarations, to consider any prior requests from members for dispensation that accord with Localism Act 2011, etc.
I'm a member of North Horsham Parish Council, so I think that's probably relevant to the agenda.
Thank you, Councillor Raby.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, this does require a decision, or we
Obviously, just to receive that declaration.
we all agree to receive that?
Yeah.
Agreed?
Thank you.
I do wonder whether I ought to do one as well, in that I'm entirely 100% clear on it, but I'm a member of the Horsham District Council Governance Committee.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
So I may make a small contribution around process, but not around what this council intends to actually do, given the role I play at that council later on in the process.
Okay.
Thanks, Councillor Buffy. Do we all agree to accept that as well?
Yes.
Agreed, thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to item 3, which is the full council meeting minutes. To approve the minutes of the full council meeting held on the 14th of July 2026 and to authorise the chair to sign them as a correct record. Just to point, I was not at that meeting, so I cannot comment on those minutes.
Yeah.
Still okay for me to sign them?
Yes.
Okay. Any comments?
Chair, 2 seconds, I'm going to sort my car so it doesn't keep buzzing all night long. But I've got, yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay, perfect, okay. So seeing none, are we all agreed that I can sign these minutes?
Yeah. Probably someone could propose.
Oh, sorry, I need
Yeah.
a proposer.
Councillor Fletcher. Thank you.
And a seconder, Councillor Foss, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good look.
26.
26.
Thank you.
Okay.
And if you wouldn't mind just initialing the bottom of each page.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to agenda item 4, which is public participation session. I note there are no members of the public this evening.
No request to speak, Chair.
And no request to speak, so we will move swiftly on. to agenda item 5, which is the payment schedules. And this is to receive the HTC payment schedule for mid-August 2026, totaling £8,000, 198.68. Payments made under delegated authority arrangements as per the financial regulations. And 5B, to receive and note the HTC payment schedule for the additional payments received after the approved schedule in July. Payments made under delegated authority arrangements as per financial regulations, totaling £57.70. Are there any questions or comments about the payments?
Can I propose we receive both?
Okay, thank you. And the seconder? Councillor Fox again?
Thank you.
And all those agree?
Agreed.
Thank you very much. So that moves us then on to item 6 on the agenda, which is a consultation opportunity, and members are to consider the consultation opportunity detailed in the report from the interim clerk on the Horsham District Council Community Governance Review second consultation. I will turn to the clerk just to maybe introduce her report.
Yes, of course. Thank you. As I'm sure members are aware, this is the second consultation opportunity for the Community Governance Review, and there is a response expected from the Town Council. I've presented the draft proposals which have been published by the District Council as part of their review and invite members to agree a formal response on behalf of Horsham Town Council. The legal context behind it is the District Council undertaking this community governance review to consider whether current parish governance arrangements continue to reflect community identity and provide effective and convenient local government. Following the initial consultation, the District Council has published the draft proposals for the future governance of the Horsham urban area, and this consultation seeks views on two options which affect Horsham Town Council and North Horsham Parish Council, and part of the Mowbray development currently within Rusper Parish. So as you see, there are two options. I'm sure members have familiarised themselves with those, so I won't go into all the detail. But basically, the option 1 is to have a single council model. Option 2 is retention of the separate councils with a Kingsley ward would transfer from Horsham Town Council to North Horsham Parish Council. The Mowbray development area would transfer from Rusper Parish to North Horsham Parish, and the existing separate governance arrangements would continue with the amended parish boundaries. For consideration, the proposals could significantly affect local governance arrangements, electoral representation, service delivery and community identity within Horsham. You may therefore wish to consider the implications of each option and whether the council should express a preferred outcome through this formal consultation response. Points to note, the consultation does close on the 7th of September, so this was a timely meeting. I know we've got another item later, but this is timely for this. Responses can all be submitted by individuals, so individual councillors can submit their own response as well, and we are hopeful that we're encouraging members of the public as well to respond, because it's important people have a say in this. Horsham District Council will then consider all responses before determining the final recommendations. So the conclusion is the CGR presents two alternative models for governance within Horsham urban area, and you're invited to review the proposals and determine the council's formal response before the consultation closes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So I will open the floor up to anyone who would like to start. Councillor Buffy.
Probably best if I get my bits out of the way, because as I said, I'm a member of the governance committee, so I won't be expressing a view on what this town council should go for in its consultation response. I think it's important that it makes one. So I'll be abstaining on any vote at the end. Just further process to reiterate. So essentially, this will be the responses will be considered by the governance committee, which will then make a recommendation to full HDC council. Full council will then vote on the final decision on what changes, if any, are to be made. So yeah, that's what will be what happens from here onwards. I think the other point I would just reiterate as well is that obviously the whole community is being consulted on this. It's not a referendum, it's a consultation exercise, and this is both a quantitative and a qualitative exercise. what people's comments are and what views they express are at least, if not more important, as their number, and that adds extra importance, I think, to what the submissions of this council are that actually go in. The only other thing I just wanted to refer to on record really is many of you will be aware that our neighbours at North Horsham Parish Council put out a publication around their view of what should happen. That's entirely their right, no problem with that. But I think it was very disappointing to see a number of what I would call derogatory and unhelpful references to this council and its makeup and the people who serve on it. And that's very disappointing to me personally, and I think it's something that I wouldn't like to think that's something that this council would ever do to any of its neighbours. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Buffy. Who would like to go next?
Can I just ask a question on what Councillor Buffy has said? What is the timing on the review, on the governance review, and which council meeting will it be scheduled to be debated?
It'll come to the October full council meeting because the governance committee meeting is later in September.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was designed around being able to make final decisions while the district council was still the unfettered competent authority to be able to do that, bearing in mind local government reorganisation. I mean, as it turns out, of course, the government hasn't made a decision yet, so there's going to be some delay in that. So strangely enough, Horsham District Council will be all done and dusted with its reorganisation or not of its area quite possibly before the government's actually decided what it's going to do with West Sussex. But there you go, that wasn't the plan at the outset.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Councillor Raving.
I just wanted to make a note, some of the complaints that were put out by North Horsham about it being politicised, and that was one of the things that they were worried about with the town council. And I find that really difficult to accept, given that when local residents wanted to be co-opted, they were completely rejected out of hand, often when they were Liberal Democrats. No, they weren't standing as Liberal Democrats to be members of North Horsham Parish Council. And it does shape the politics of who is there. There are multiple members of the Conservative Party and of Reform, although they're not standing in that sense. And when other people did choose to be co-opted, residents living in North Horsham wanted to, with lots of vacancies, and were out of hand rejected, apart from me. But also, I think it's important that if people are going to be co-opted, that's quite different to being elected. And I was elected to represent Kingsley, and Kingsley being chosen to become in one of these options, just to be moved out of where it currently exists. I can't understand the rationale. Representing that particular area, nobody has ever contacted me to say we're desperate to be part of North Horsham Parish Council. So I just don't understand the logic of that. I'm all for not me making a decision. I'm not actually a resident of either, but I think local people should decide. And I just find it really strange that that is part of one of the options to move Kingsley. So I just wanted to put that, my bit on the debate.
Thank you, Councillor Raving. I might come in just here as well. Having previously been a Forest Neighbourhood Council, one could argue that I did represent the Kingsley ward at some points, but also more importantly, my children have attended the Kingsley Primary School. And one of my concerns about the proposal in option 2, and that's why I do not necessarily see this as binary facing the governance committee. It may be that if they were to choose a variation of option 2, I would strongly, or were looking towards option 2, I would strongly encourage them to if they were minded to maintain 2 councils, I would encourage them not to accept the boundary change for Kingsley. I find that school communities, which are such strong communities within our community of Horsham larger, are some of the strongest bonds there are. And if you know anything about the school catchments, Kingsley as at the school and the ward. The school is at the centre of the Kingsley ward, and it's at the northern tip of the catchment area. So the vast majority of students and families that attend Kingsley Primary live in the town area to the south of the Kingsley ward. And while local politics and council politics or issues or concerns are not necessarily always tied to schools, I think there are very common issues. And so I find that really difficult to hide that ward off from what is currently the town area, what was the Forest neighbourhood, to place it into North Horsham Parish Council. So I'll express my opinions later on the rest of the proposals, but on that particular element of the second option, I'm strongly against it.
And again, just keep myself for now to Kingsley. I'd strongly endorse what you've both said, because I've not heard anybody from Kingsley or anywhere else saying there's a particular reason why Kingsley should be moving to North Horsham Parish. If we end up with a whole town council and Kingsley ends up being put in a Roffey ward, I don't think that's a particularly big deal. But I don't think changing the actual council that it's sitting in, I haven't seen any argument in its favour. Your argument is very strong that it's the school. Your argument that that Kingsley residents elected a political candidate is also a valid one. And I would say that although Kingsley residents are relatively close to the Roffey shops and so on, they will naturally tend to look south quite a lot for their services, because that's where the main town centre is, and that's just the nature of it. So I think there is also a sort of a southwards facing aspect to living in Kingsley. So I would hope that we might all be able to agree that if option 2, which is not my favoured option, goes ahead, that we would request that Kingsley actually stays where it is.
I'm minded to maybe propose that we take some decisions or some agreements in steps in that case. I don't think there's anything.
There's no problem with that at all.
No problem with that. If we were to just continue this conversation just on that part of option 2, does anyone else want to comment on that specifically? Councillor Mansell.
I want to comment simply because Kingsley is also an area in which I have an interest as a district councillor and also as a county councillor. I do think that it would be very strange at this point to be moving that part of the town from one new town council to the other just when we sought to establish the identity of the town council, and I'm very much against it, so I would not want that to proceed if option 2 went in.
Can I just ask where the option 2 came from in the sense of moving Kingsley? Like, I can sort of understand keeping the two separate, but where did the actual idea of potential moving?
I was in the room. They just went, oh, should we move a line? Yeah, why not? We could, maybe we don't need that bit, but what about, we could move this here. That was literally it, just in the council meeting.
What's the
North Horsham Parish Council.
I think North Horsham Parish made a request.
Yeah, it was within the
Yes.
North Horsham Parish Council meeting. What do we reckon, guys? Well, we could probably add this little bit here. What do you reckon? No, I think so. No, there was no substantive argument, just, you know, let's move the line here.
I think
That was it.
I would add, Councillor Thompson, that for someone who spends a lot of time looking at the maps of boundaries, multiple levels of councils, I mean, it is an odd one, because of, but that's particularly because of the division of county boundaries, which most agree are very odd. They cut across the district boundaries. They seem to be cutting across the parishes now and town. I can see, if you were just looking at maps, why that idea might come out. And my personal opinion of how this whole process has played out is that stage 1 was an idea sourcing consultation, and someone put forward an idea, and now it is for stage 2 to comment on that idea. So
perhaps it's worth just adding one more point. So although this is not the option I'd like to happen, if this is the way it goes, then you've got a very small ward, Kingsley, in amongst lots of big wards in Horsham Town. So you need to decide what to do with it.
Mhm.
Yes,
Councillor Macon?
yeah, well, what I was going to say is I think it can be amalgamated with one of the other multi-member wards, or it could be, there could be an additional ward to it, so that you kind of add Mill Pond and,
If I can come in just before you, Councillor Macon, obviously in the discussion of the makeup of the town council, lots of those, there were, if you want to call many conversations on the warding arrangements. I think the process would be that if it wasn't done, there's no real need to change the status. So again, if it was option 2, and option 2 maybe with rejecting the Kingsley option, I don't think there's a need to necessarily change how the town council is warded
no,
at
I
the
suppose
moment.
I've jumped a step of logic, which is I like the big wards, even if we had option 2, but yes.
I think the Democratic Services of Horsham District Council might prefer less work.
They might indeed, anyway.
But Councillor Macon, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I'd like to step back a little bit because it's going a bit down a rabbit hole of if and if,
Yeah.
then.
Fair.
The fact is, we got an opportunity here to make some sense of the boundaries, the number of councils and the type of councils that are there, by having a council representing Horsham Town.
Mm.
So in terms of a proposal or something that, if I was sitting, for example, in Chichester or wherever the unitary is going to be, and looking at Horsham, then, I'd be thinking about, I'd expect, a council to be representing Horsham the town, rather than it being split up. Unless, of course, I was, minded to divide and conquer and make mischief for whatever reason, in which case it's easier to do when you have got separate councils there. So I'm sorry, I jumped out of it because for me, thinking about what's going to happen, and if it's that and if it's that, then that's a bit far ahead for me.
I think this is about giving clear feedback to the governance committee, so that I think that's why we went down that very specific response. Councillor Mercer, do you want to come in?
I want to make a proposal.
Yep, thank you.
I want to propose that we adopt option 1. And there are 2 reasons mainly for that. One of them positive and one of them negative. The positive one leads very much what Councillor Macon was saying, which is around the issue of identity and scale and representation. So if you look around at the town councils in other towns within West Sussex, you will see that they encompass a significant whole of the town. Chichester City Council does the same. Burgess Hill Town Council does the same. The situation of having North Horsham Parish Council in the northeastern quarter of our town is one that is based on history and also based, and this is me as a politician saying, based on how the neighbourhood councils were treated by the district council in the past, to be honest. So I know these arguments will be laid out in the paper, but I want to make them myself because I feel them very strongly. One, a town council which encompasses North Horsham Parish Council has significant greater economies of scale to gain through doing its business. There are step costs involved in having any sort of a council at that level, and they are reduced in terms of unit costs the bigger it is. The second issue is around identity. And in my view, the people who come into the Carfax every evening are not thinking, oh yes, I'm walking from North Horsham Parish Council to the Town Council. They're thinking, I'm in Horsham and good things happen in Horsham. And therefore I think it's really strong, a really strong argument for why North Horsham and Horsham Town should be one council. The third element, which is on the positive side, is about representation. And you referred to this, Councillor Macon. It's about, we're going to have, whether the government goes for option B2, which was the recommendation of the County Council and the districts and boroughs, or whether they go for their own modification, The unitary council that we will end up with will be a large council, both geographically and in terms of population. So if it were to be two options, it would be 450,000 roughly. If it were the modification, it'd be something like 500 and, I don't know, 550, certainly significantly more. In that circumstance, with Mid Sussex and its towns, Crawley, Horsham needs to have strong representation so that its interests are looked after within the unitary council. And I think that will be weakened by it being divided into a north-east quadrant and a town quadrant. So I think a very strong argument is that going forward into the future, there needs to be one Horsham town council which encompasses the parish. The negative argument is, and it refers to what Councillor Raven referred to, I know, and we are aware, that North Horsham Parish Council had run for a number of years on a significant number of vacancies, and when they had genuine non-political applications for people to be co-opted onto those vacancies, people who were qualified, experienced, and prepared to serve, the decisions that they made were essentially political, rather than looking at the interests of the governance of the parish council and whether the people who were offering themselves would strengthen the governance or not. And I think that demonstrates a brickenness in the parish council, which I think is a significant weakness. And I think, therefore, to become part of a wider town council would actually be a solution to that brickenness. So I'd like to propose option one, and I'm looking for a second to do that, please.
Second that.
Thank you, Councillor Claridge.
Yeah, and then if anyone has, you have to know pros and second, you go with this proposal and see what the vote is. But if anyone has any other comments, obviously you can take those as well.
Okay, just because we have jumped to that proposal, unless anyone strongly objects, I just want to open the floor to see if anyone else wanted to comment, because we had focused our comments previously just on option two. So I've got Councillor Grant and Councillor Foss. Councillor Grant.
Thank you, Chair. I think, until now we've been looking at this in a technical way, and we've looked at process, and that's all good, and I think that's right that we should do so. There's one other aspect, and those that know me on this, is that it's about outcomes and delivery of services and democracy to the people of North Horsham Parish, North Horsham. I have a very soft spot, people know that, for Roffey. I used to live in there, and I'm just over the border in another ward now. But it always struck me that Roffey was somehow the poor man of Horsham. And
it's the most disadvantaged ward.
Right, it is the most disadvantaged ward. And though some of you might not know, but in 2014, 2015, I was a North Horsham Parish Councillor, and it was my first brush with local democracy, and and I found the role, I found the place, I fell in love with Roffey. And what I think in this argument and this debate is about delivering outcomes for the people, as well as the process and the technical aspect of how it may or may not be integrated into a wider structure. And there's a couple of points I want to make on that. One is that when we, as politicians, take in our residents' money in the form of tax, that money is allocated to be spent on behalf of the residents who've contributed to that fund. And I look at that and I know that there's significant financial reserves within North Horsham Parish. I also see, on the other hand, that a great lot of good could be done across various different activities and different pillars of releasing some of those funds for the benefit of the community. And I think this is where, and I don't like to bring it up here, but there may be an element of politics involved of, taxing and spending and not doing anything. But the outcome is, forget the process for a moment, or put that to one side for a moment. The outcome is that it's not delivering for the people of North Horsham. And I think the time has come to accept that and to bring North Horsham into the wider parish and let it benefit from being part of a greater entity, greater body where we can deliver outcomes for the people, for the residents. And that concerns me very much. And for that reason, I will support your motion, and I will definitely be voting for option 1. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Foss.
I just want to build on what Councillor Grant's saying. I'm also concerned about outcomes. And I am unaware of how North Horsham performs, I will be blatantly honest. I am inexperienced with local government in that regard. But I just want to focus on the allotment that we've been given as a town council and focus on providing good outcomes for the area we currently manage. And then hopefully at the next community government review, we can look at expanding. And I know there's a time frame issue where this is now, the next one's Lord knows where. But I just want to take a cautious approach and manage what we've got now and improve the outcomes here before we expand the area and see how that goes.
Thank you. Councillor Bertrand.
And I strongly feel that option 1 is the right option for us to be taking. I think there's an immediate issue that needs addressing in terms of Mowbray, which is now starting to build out, and it needs to be a single entity. So we need boundary changes just for Mowbray alone. But why option 1 rather than option 2? Well, primarily Horsham is Horsham. It's a town with its own identity. I live very close to the boundary of North Horsham. 2 of my kids went to school in North Horsham, 2 of them primary school, 2 of them went to school in the town area. It's not a visible thing when you're living there. Most people probably don't have a very strong awareness. I get the North Horsham pages. If I wasn't part of local government, I would tend to assume that I was part of North Horsham Parish because I vote in Holbrook West Ward and Holbrook Division. So I think the boundary is, it's just what happens to be there historically. It's not meaningful, but the town is a meaningful identity. It's how we operate for the shops, our leisure facilities, schools, anything we want to look at in terms of traffic, the impact crosses that boundary. And I think this is operating as a single entity is good for residents in both areas. So if we're getting Mowbray and Novartis building out, and the traffic from those developments will primarily actually impact the people in the town area. But if you're a North Horsham resident and you've got your kids you're unfortunate enough, your kids might be causing, some of the ones were causing antisocial behaviour in the town centre. The neighbourhood wardens are limited in what they can do to help compared with if you're a resident of Horsham Town because they're living in a different area. Same if they're going to Bowhunt School. These children cross the boundaries as well. If we're looking at things like having a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit, which personally I'm very keen on, that would make sense to be a cross-boundary thing. If you live in North Horsham and we don't have the 2 councils joined together, then you don't have a voice when it comes to the things that are happening in the town. You don't have a voice on Horsham Park, on the shopping centre, on the Horsham Lakes or things like that. And so that's the main argument about why it operates as a single entity. And I think the reason we shouldn't be waiting is because community governance review, local governance review is happening now. And we are already smaller than Crawley. We're similar in size to Haywards Heath and Burgess Hill and so on. If we cut ourselves in half by having 2 parishes in the town, we are weakening the voice of people in Horsham. We are weakening our capacity to take on the big jobs that will be needed over the next 10 years before any other community governance review will take place, because we may need to take on assets that would otherwise be at risk of being dumped under the unitary. And I think that's really important. There are some other aspects of option one that are also good. I think the option one idea of having fewer larger wards with multi-members is a really good one. The tiny wards we've got now, personally, I don't feel correspond to community identity very well at all. They're too small. And if you have single member wards, they're very unresilient. If that member is ill, away, just not doing the job very well, then that leaves those residents unrepresented. If you have the bigger wards, which have more of a sort of identity geographically, you also have better representation. And if you have an independent, a Lib Dem, a Tory in your ward, you also as a resident have a choice about who you might want to speak to about an issue. And that's not available to you if you have all single member wards. So those are kind of my reasons why I think option one is really good.
Okay, Councillor Fletcher, I know Councillor Buffy wants to say something, I want to say something, and I do want to potentially give Councillor Mercer the opportunity to vote on his proposal before he has to leave. Councillor Buffy?
So
Thank you.
once again, not debating, but I just do think there's an important kind of procedural clarification point here, because I do hear a certain narrative outside around how this would actually work if option one were to happen. It would not be Horsham Town Council expanding to take over North Horsham any more than it would be North Horsham Parish Council expanding to take over the town. It would be a new council. It would be taking elements from both and creating something new. And that is even actually in the process, because you will all remember what we were originally elected at was Horsham Parish Council. You may be amused to know that if option one happens again, legally, the new council would be initially created again as Horsham Parish Council. It would not be Horsham Town Council, it would not be North Horsham Parish Council, it would be a new council that would then decide what it was to be called. It's not one taking over another. Thanks.
I do want to wrap this up. Did anyone not? Do you want to add? Yes.
I want to make a really, really brief point. It's on, I totally understand Councillor Grant's point, but actually the makeup and the decisions of the parish councils are changed every time there's an opportunity for election. So I actually think it's not about the direction of the current or historic North Horsham Parish Council. Many of them are retiring and will be leaving. It will be a completely different group of people. And the same if we have elections. So I feel that the boundary review shouldn't be to do with decisions that have been made historically.
Correct.
But I just wanted to just briefly say that I totally agree with what Councillor Fletcher was saying about, I do also represent, I know that's not why I'm here, but I live in North Horsham. When I was at North Horsham meeting and a resident said, I just feel really frustrated that there is a Horsham Town Council because I would like to be represented by that. And I'm not, and I'd like a voice in that, and that's my town. And I feel that's a very strong component. I've had a resident say that in a public meeting. This matters to me, decisions about my town. I live in Horsham, and that's the driving force for me. And I think decisions shouldn't form part of it about whether it will be, how it would be run and where funding is decided. That's not, I don't think that's relevant to this.
Thank you, Councillor Raby. So just before we come to vote, I just wanted to add just a few things myself. Just when I first moved to Horsham, also unaware of boundaries, and we talked a lot about people from North Horsham visiting the town centre, etc., as if there's no boundary to cross. But I think equally there's no boundary to cross if you go from the town to the north of Horsham. So, my daughter attended ballet in North Horsham community centres. I know that there's many members of my ward in the town that attend church in North Horsham. So there's already, again, and other organisations across Horsham, there's no North Horsham Older People's Forum or etc. There are Horsham organisations that cross these boundaries. I was also recently looking at the map of the Riverside Walk, which completely also, goes around both of these council areas and uniting them in a way through an event that has been held for many times. And also, I think there are many elements of a merger that benefit both sides. But there's likely potential that we could get that a joined up council could get the expertise of the existing North Horsham Parish Council. They have many members of staff, very used to running facilities, and so you get the best of both potentially from my perspective of supporting option one. So with me saying that, I just want to bring us back to the proposal on the table, which is from Councillor Mercer. I would like to just caveat that, if I may, Councillor Mercer, that the proposal would be to support option one, as you said, to delegate the drafting of the comments to the clerk with the collaboration with the chair, the normal chair, that would be Councillor Frank, to refine those comments in light of what we've discussed this evening, and then to also include a note that were the governance committee to pursue option two, that they would reconsider the Kingsley Woolden move specifically to be included in the notes. I think Councillor Clara, you previously offered to second that proposal. Do you second that with my additions?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Mercer.
May I sum up briefly?
Please do, yes, right of reply.
And, I hear the comments made, and I hear your comments as well. And I just wanted to respond to those, but without giving you a hard time, because I've been an elected member here since 2021, so that's already 5 years, and we've just got to the point of a community governance review. Prior to that, the establishment of the parish council that became the town council. These ships don't pass very often, and although I think the sort of minimum is 5 years, it can be well beyond that. And that depends on the appetite of the relevant council for the work involved, because quite obviously it's quite significant. And the thing is here that the relevant council is Horsham District Council right now. But in 5 years' time, it would be the new unitary council, which would also be including Crawley, including Burgess Hill, including Heyteeth, including potentially Chichester if they go for that. And I just wonder whether such a council would actually give a change like this as much attention or as much priority as Horsham District. So that would be my argument as to why we should proceed now.
Thank you, Councillor Mercer. So we have the proposal on the table.
Could I just ask a question? It's more of an expediency of your process here, really, because you were making the comments about, but if it's option two and Kingsley, do you want to try and roll that in, or are you going to have a second motion?
I think I have added that in. Councillor Mercer agreed to add that into his proposal.
All right, that's fine then.
Yeah. And Councillor Clerk seconded it again with my amendment, shall we say.
Yeah.
So I believe if the original proposer accepts an amendment, we don't even have to vote on it separately. So the proposal is, as it said, all those in favour of supporting the proposal on the table, show of hands.
I don't know if I can vote, that's why.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Sorry, can everyone just keep their hands? Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thank you.
All those against?
2 against, yeah.
And any abstentions? You abstaining?
1.
Yeah.
2 abstentions. Thank you.
So that proposal does carry.
It does.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Mercer.
Thank you.
And I'm sure the clerk will share the final agreed wording before it's submitted to Horsham District Council with the rest of this council.
Yes.
So, I just need to find my agenda again. There it is. Thank you very much. So we'll move on to item 7 on the agenda, which is proposed expenditure outside of budget. And if I could just ask the chair to introduce these 2 expenditure items.
Yes, of course.
Oh, sorry, that's Clark.
Clark.
I'm the chair.
I'm not the chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So there is a requirement, well, civic events, basically, the town council is expected to attend, and you won't be surprised to learn that we need to purchase some wreaths for these events that are coming up. Obviously, we all know about Remembrance, but also Battle of Britain Day and things like that as well. So I've put a quick report together to request the approval of the purchase of 4 wreaths for the chair to use, or wreaths, sorry, for the chair to use when representing the town council at civic events. And that's just because sometimes there is a requirement short notice and they take a few weeks to arrive after you've ordered them. Also, there's a request here for the agreement for the hire of a stall on the West Street Market on 2 days to enable the council to engage with residents on the CGR consultation. So I'm recommending that the council approves the expenditure for the 4 wreaths, cost of the stall hire for 2 days on West Street Market, and the funding to be allocated for the contingency funds in the 2026-2027 budget, as the items are not included within the approved budget. Hope that's
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Clerk, I'll just note, I think the wreath proposal or aspect is quite self-explanatory. With regards to the hiring of the stall, this was a idea that was discussed with the chair and myself prior to this meeting, and we asked it to be included on the agenda item. Just a note, agreeing to the expenditure at this point just allows for it to happen. Obviously, after the meeting, were we to agree this item, we would be coming back to find out if it's feasible for anyone to attend or to be on the stall. I think it would be very similar to the engagement we had at the Rotary Horsham Fun Day Sunday. We have in the West Street Market provider provides the stall and the marquee for that fee and the space, and we have the banners and the pop-ups, and we would have our lines to take, shall we say, based on what was agreed this evening or what will be agreed in terms of the CGR, and would be a chance for people to ask questions. I would just say that we obviously, as a council, did not have the funds or the means or the times to put out publications to residents as North Horsham Parish Council had done in order to communicate, and this was seen as a potential alternative to engage with the community at large, because we know that both residents of the town area and the North Horsham Parish area will visit Horsham Town Centre on these days. So that is the proposal. Does anyone have any questions or comments on that?
Make a request. Could we vote on the 2 items separately, please?
Yes,
Absolutely, we could do that. Yeah. Thank you. So should we just move to the REITs first? So all those in favour of approving the expenditure for the 4 REITs for civic events?
Do you need a proposal?
Yes,
do you need a
please.
proposal?
Yes,
Thank
I'll
you.
propose that one.
Thank you. And a seconder? Councillor Thompson?
Thank you.
So all those in favour of the purchase of the 4 REITs? That's unanimous.
Unanimous, thank you.
So then moving on to the hire of the stall. Am I allowed to be the proposer? I don't know.
Okay.
I will propose that because it was originally my idea with Councillor Frank. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Raby. Any further discussion or comments on that? Just can we jump right to it?
Can
Councillor
I,
Councillor
go ahead.
Macon.
When is this gonna happen?
So the options would be, because they run the markets on
Yes.
Wednesday and Saturday.
Wednesday to Saturday. So he's told me the 26th to the 29th of August, and also the following week, 2nd to the 5th of September.
So I'm
And I-
proposing 2 of those 4 dates. Obviously, we
Yeah,
just
yeah,
missed one.
So I was getting mixed up as to when we.
Yeah, and that would be chosen
7th, isn't it? Yeah, okay. that's
based
fine.
on our availabilities.
Yeah, sorry, thank you.
Councillor Thompson.
Just a quick question. If there is a risk that nobody is available on a certain date, which we paid for, I'm guessing that expense is already gone for that, or
Do you want to comment?
Yeah, so we won't be booking anything until we have confirmation that there are councillors prepared to, yeah.
And Councillor, I will add, because I'm familiar with this type of booking and using it on behalf of the MP, who only manned it for 2 hours. You know, that's fair. So if we can get anyone to talk to constituents during that time period, I think we would probably hopefully go for it either way. But Councillor Grant?
Yeah, maybe a strange one, but we offered, we have the opportunity to do it over 2 days in West Street. Is there any option at all that on one of those days we actually do it in Roffey? So we do one in Roffey and one in North Horsham. Doesn't have to be Roffey, somewhere in North Horsham and somewhere in town.
Probably
If it's about asking questions and about CGR and things like that. So I'll just put that on the table and see what happens, like the touchpad.
I just, do you want to comment on this?
I'm going to say, I don't know of any markets in Roughy, so I wouldn't know, because basically this is an opportunity to, where there's a lot of footfall and it's in the town, but I'm not aware of any markets in Roughy unless something
No,
else.
I understand. I wasn't necessarily thinking of a market.
Okay.
You know, something else. Just to continue, it was just to see for balance. You know, if there was one, if we were going to be present in town,
Mhm.
then maybe it might be reasonable to consider being present in North Horsham.
Councillor Raby.
The whole point of our position is that there is no difference between people see Horsham as Horsham, people come into the market, there isn't a separate market, as you say, I'm not aware of the market, there isn't a market in North Horsham. People that come into if we met nobody from North Horsham as part of this, might actually be a clue that there is a difference. But so I think this is absolutely fine to have this in the centre of town, because it is the hub for everybody that lives in, Horsham.
Yeah, to make an observation in terms of the point of balance. To my knowledge, North Horsham Parish Council's leaflet was not distributed in the town area. So I think balance is addressed quite nicely by pitching up solely in the town area.
Thank you, Councillor Coffey.
I was going to say, I can man the stands free, so.
Thank you, Councillor Clode. I will also say if everyone does agree to the proposal, I would also add, personally, I would be hesitant for the reasons Councillor Boffey's articulated to do something more free. But I do want to say that no idea is a bad idea. I think it was worth discussing and teasing it out, Councillor Grant. But I don't think I would really feel comfortable manning a storm myself. So without further discussion, there's a proposal and a seconder, I believe.
Sorry, who was the seconder?
I was proposing it, and
You were?
Councillor Raby was
Thank
seconding.
you.
All those in favour of agreeing the budget to hold a market stall, show of hands.
Yeah.
And that
Thank you.
is, and all those against, and any abstentions.
One abstention, thank you.
Thank you very much. Great, appreciate that. So we shall now move to item 8, which is the invitation to the Around the District meeting Northeast, Tuesday, the 8th of September. Members are to consider nominating 2 town councils to attend the Around the District meeting on 8th of September from 6 to 8 p.m. at Roffey Millennium Hall. This meeting is a further round of discussions to continue engagement on issues affecting communities sponsored by Horsham District Council. Do you want to add anything else to that?
I don't think so, Chair. I think that's, it's seeking 2 councillors that will be available to attend.
For anyone not familiar with these, maybe, so last year, the District Council hosted a series of 4 meetings asking across the district to engage with all the parish councils and invited them to attend. And they are doing the same thing this year. I also know that, being on the cabinet. This is the one that encompasses our area, both Horsham Town Council and North Horsham Parish Council. It is on the day as well after the CGR consultation closes. I know the topics likely to be discussed are LGR, CGR, planning. Was the 4th one? I should remember. Just forgotten.
Council.
Oh, the annual plan. I should have known that one. Sorry, the council plan. Many of us have multiple hats in this room, so I think we're looking for 2 people that can clearly represent the town council. Is anyone interested in attending this meeting? We're able to attend on the 8th. Not maybe from this group. In principle, can we agree that between the chair and the clerk can choose 2 people that may not be in this room to attend? That'd be my proposal.
Yeah.
Does that need a proposal on a seconder to do that?
Yes, please.
I propose that, a seconder. It's council making. All those
Thank
agreed
you.
for the clerk to be delegated that? Agreed unanimously? Agreed. Okay, perfect.
Just for extra context on that, just to make it clear, it's not just Horsham Town and North Horsham. I can't remember exactly where the boundary is, but I would imagine Lower Beeding, Colgate and Rustford will be coming to that. It's kind of a range of parish councils in the northeast. And actually the intention is, well, actually it was this year because it was February. The idea is to try and have 2 per year. So yeah,
It's a lobbying difference. I was on the other flip side, I was the cabinet member there doing it at
Yeah.
that meeting, and it was really positive. It was a really constructive and nice meeting, good opportunity to meet the other parishes.
I did the one in Stemming, and that was good as well.
Brilliant.
And I think if I can add something, because it's something that came up, and one of the things we're going to talk about later tonight is parish councils working together. I think that fosters that network for this event. Okay, item 9 on the agenda is the committee membership review. Did you have a report to add to this? Or no?
Not really,
That's fine.
only that, obviously, the potentials of vacancy on the Human Resources Committee. And also, I didn't know whether there was anybody that wanted to step onto the planning committee to increase the membership of that as well.
So obviously we are not a full cohort this evening,
No.
and I think well, we can address this now. We could also potentially defer this to the
You can defer.
September meeting,
Yeah.
Which I would hopefully, with more notice that meeting has, maybe have more members in attendance.
Yeah.
Could I propose that we need a full council meeting to add anyone to those committees? Of this group at the moment, is there anyone at the time with perhaps not a lot of thought might be interested in being added onto either of those committees?
I'd be interested in being added to planning, but obviously come September, I might have some commitments.
The way that planning works at the moment is there's a pool, and we, well, ideally they'd all attend, but we need at least a quorum. I would say adding to the pool, making the committee bigger, and if you would be willing to add your name, would help us establish a quorum when we need it in the future. So if you're willing.
I'd be very happy to join.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
I would, or,
Yeah.
yeah? No, thank you very much, Councillor Foss. Anyone else at this moment? Okay, so there's a proposal, I will propose that Councillor Foss is added to the planning committee. Is there a seconder? Councillor Thompson, thank you very much. All those agreed to add that?
Agreed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then do we need a decision to defer this again, or just be added to the agenda?
No, I'll just add it to
Add to the agenda, perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, so, thank you, clerk. So, the next item, I believe I should read this paragraph.
Yes,
All right,
please.
thank you very much. So I will read this and then we'll move on to item 10. So first, the exclusion of press and public. To resolve that, in accordance with the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960, section 1(2), the press and public be excluded from the meeting during consideration of the following item on the grounds that publicity would be prejudicial to the public interest by reason of the confidential nature of the business to be transacted, namely the appointment and terms of employment of an employee. I need a motion.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So can I proposal to move into exempt session? Exclude the public. Councillor Fletcher and a seconder. Councillor Macon.
Thank you.
All those in favour? Universally agreed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We shall now end the recording.
Yeah, on the stream.